Imagine this. A young couple, just married, their future bright, their hearts full of love, and their plans stretching out before them like a promise. They had only been husband and wife for a few weeks when everything came to a chilling end. One day, they were laughing with neighbors, decorating their new home in New York, talking about children and vacations, and the next day, they were gone. Vanished. Their car sat parked neatly in the driveway. Their house looked untouched. The lights inside were still on. Dinner plates sat waiting on the kitchen table. But the newlyweds had disappeared into thin air. No forced entry. No robbery. No note. Just silence. The silence of a mystery that would haunt their families, their friends, and the nation for more than 2 decades. Detectives were called immediately. The scene confused everyone. Nothing pointed to foul play, yet nothing looked normal either. It wasn't the kind of disappearance you see in the movies with broken glass and signs of a struggle. It was as if the couple had stood up in the middle of dinner, walked out the door, and never came back. Investigators searched everywhere. Rivers. Forests, highways. Neighbors were questioned again and again. Did they see a strange car? Did they hear a scream? But no one saw or heard anything. The case hit the news. Headlines screamed about the vanishing newlyweds of New York. Talk shows speculated everything from kidnappings to cult involvement. Some even believed the couple had staged their own disappearance to start a new life somewhere far away. But the families never believed it. They knew their children. They knew something terrible had happened. As weeks turned to months, and months to years, the trail grew colder. Leads dried up. Theories piled up. Some whispered about mob connections, pointing to rumors that the groom's uncle owed money to dangerous people. Others said the bride might have had secrets, suggesting an old boyfriend who couldn't let go. But police found no proof. Year after year, the files sat in dusty cabinets, marked as unsolved. The families grew older. Every birthday, every anniversary, every holiday was a reminder of the couple that never came home. Mothers lit candles. Fathers sat in silence. Siblings grew up with empty chairs at family gatherings. By the early 2000s, the story had faded from headlines. People moved on. But for those who loved the couple, the pain never disappeared. The mystery remained. And then, in 2022, 26 years after the newlyweds vanished, fate stepped in. A construction crew began renovations on an old abandoned property just outside New York City. It was the kind of place no one had touched in decades, the kind of house that locals whispered about but avoided. As workers tore up the basement floor, their tools hit something solid, something that didn't belong. They stopped. They called authorities. And what police uncovered beneath that concrete floor shocked not only the workers but the entire nation. Hidden inside a sealed-off section of the basement were 2 old, weathered suitcases. At first, it looked like forgotten luggage. But when detectives opened them, the horror became clear. Inside were skeletal remains. The air turned heavy. Investigators found clothing, jewelry, and even photographs carefully packed alongside the bones. DNA tests confirmed what no one wanted to believe. The remains belonged to the newlyweds who had vanished in 1996. The mystery was no longer about where they had gone, but why they had been buried here, and who was behind it. The discovery sparked headlines across the country. News stations called it one of the biggest cold case breakthroughs in decades. Families wept. Communities mourned. But detectives had more work to do. They traced the history of the property. Who owned it? Who lived here in the 1990s? And that's when the most shocking twist of all surfaced. The house had once belonged to a man who was not a stranger, not some random criminal, but a close family friend. A man who had even helped plan the couple's wedding. The betrayal was staggering. Digging deeper, investigators uncovered financial records and evidence that tied this man to a web of fraud and stolen money. The young couple had apparently discovered the fraud shortly after their wedding. They confronted him. They threatened to go public. And for that, they paid the ultimate price. Instead of letting them expose him, the man silenced them forever, hiding their bodies beneath the very foundation of his secret home, where no one thought to look for 26 years. The nation was horrified. How could someone so close, someone trusted by both families, commit such a monstrous act? Reporters dug into the man's past. Former neighbors recalled his odd behavior. Old acquaintances spoke about his arrogance and greed. And prosecutors began building a case that shook the community to its core. Families who had prayed for answers for decades finally received the truth, but with it came fresh pain. They now knew their loved ones had been betrayed not by strangers but by someone they had welcomed into their lives. The case became a reminder of how darkness can hide behind the most familiar faces. It reminded the world that evil doesn't always lurk in the shadows, sometimes it sits at the dinner table. For 26 years, the couple's voices had been silenced, their story buried beneath concrete. But in 2022, the truth finally surfaced. The world mourned their loss. Justice, though late, finally came knocking. And the mystery of the vanishing newlyweds of New York became a chilling lesson that no matter how deeply buried, the truth always finds its way out.